Hi there. This is my quick reaction to House of the Dragon San Diego Comic-Con week. I just saw the full hour-long panel they had at San Diego Comic-Con, and it's not worth doing a giant report on. What I'm going to do is post a few highlight clips. But by extension, all of Comic-Con week, what has been coming out? I finished up covering the Entertainment Weekly interviews that came out last week. Then there was this huge spread in Hollywood Reporter, which I need to cover. Then Wednesday, that was Monday, Tuesday. Then Wednesday, the first full trailer dropped. We thought that was coming out during the panel, which was on Saturday. Came out Wednesday, and I did post a same night immediate reaction, 12 minutes long in audio only. But I said I have 7 major points and takeaways from this, and I've realized I'm not going to make a full scene-by-scene breakdown because there is too much news coming out. The trailer wasn't that different, and I said everything I needed to say in my immediate reaction. I know it's audio only because I rushed it out, but I'm not going to do a shot-by-shot breakdown of this one. Maybe if they post a second trailer, I will. But this week, there's just too many interviews to go through that I don't feel too bad because that was a thing on the House of the Dragon subreddit, people joking that they put out a new behind-the-scenes video right after that, and it was a lot better than in terms of the hardcore fans, people who have read the books. It was a lot more interesting to see the behind-the-scenes stuff versus a better trailer. Now, don't get me wrong, it's just, for people who read the books and know the story, the full trailer wasn't that big of an improvement over the teaser trailer because, okay, this is what they look like in full costume. We already got that from the teaser. I'm not complaining at all. In my video, I said, this trailer does everything it's supposed to do. We are a minority, a smaller minority, the hardcore fans obsessing over details. This trailer is meant for general audiences who don't know the story. The full trailer finally conveying it's a succession conflict, King's daughter, King's brother, King remarries, all that stuff. But there isn't as much new to really pick apart. I mean, the only thing that's really different is, we finally see the dragon designs for Caraxes and Cyrax. That came up in the Hollywood Reporter thing too, so I think I'm going to post that as a separate thing. I'm not going to make one big full trailer breakdown. I'm going to be, after this, posting a series of short, like 2 or 3 minute clips or reaction to the interview stuff. Thematically, not shot by shot, but this is a specific issue that came up. I mean, I'm not going to do a shot-by-shot breakdown of this is the tournament, and oh look, here's all the sigils they put in the background, because none of them are new sigils. So I feel bad about this. Tell me in the comments, do you think it would be worth doing a full trailer breakdown? I'd have to do all the interviews first, and by then we're probably going to have another trailer anyway. So stuff that came out that was backlogged from Comic-Con week. Before the con, Monday, Tuesday, we had the Hollywood Reporter thing, which I've taken all my notes on and need to report on. Then we got a full trailer, and I reported on that quickly. Then the actual panel, I thought they'd be like making big announcements. They didn't. It was a, hey, this is the new cast thing, and it was nice. They put out an extended trailer which had these new scenes in it. They took one big scene of Viserys and Rhaenyra and intercut it throughout the thing. I am going to make a video about the new scenes, just a thematic video about just those new scenes. It's short. I'm not going to do a breakdown of the extended one either. And like I said, the big thing was also during the past week, they put out the first 2 behind-the-scenes videos from HBO, where we're looking at props. We got our first look at, there's like a shot of young Aegon II sparring with Jake Valyrian in a training exercise, and they're wearing black and green. Like, that's, again, there's not much info to take off of that. It's just, yup, they're fighting, but it's nice to look at. It was a joke on the House of the Dragon subreddit. Wow, us hardcore fans got more out of the the insider behind-the-scenes video than we did from the trailer. So I'm not doing a full shot-by-shot breakdown. I already did a reaction. I said the 7 informative points. People keep telling me, don't make really long videos. I know everyone's searching for trailer breakdowns. That's why I feel bad. But it's more important to go over the behind-the-scenes interviews than yup, This is Dragonstone. The actual informative things about the video I said in the audio-only same night immediate reaction. Okay? So I'm going to be posting a couple of highlight clips from the Comic-Con panel and one or two things about the full trailer, mostly the prophecy thing that Viserys talks about. Because I want to actually be moving on from this. I want to be done with Comic-Con week stuff, because we only have 3 weeks left. 3 weeks and change. I want to be on to other stuff by the weekend. So the rest of this video you're watching now, just my general thoughts on the Comic-Con panel. That's what this video is. This is stuff that I'm not going to make clips from. Other things that were interesting, we're going to make a clip. Like when Condell talks about dragon designs, I'm going to make that into a clip. Overall, it was nice. Some people said it was boring. I don't think it was, because the fundamental difference is, I'm going to link this at the end of the video, that my old thing from 2019 of showing when they pre-scripted and pre-rehearsed the Game of Thrones Comic-Con panels, that if a panel is so, it's like the Emmy Awards, when they have the pre-rehearsed skits, if it's going so well that it seems scripted, it probably is. That when they were acting out all the jokes, and then we saw a video of that earlier the same day for the Season 8 panel, they had done the same interview in a dry run and pre-rehearsed it. That, okay, there were long periods where the cast was pausing to think of what to say. Well, that means it's honest, it's not pre-scripted, and after all this, just the fake PR campaign, I'm happy for their honesty. The moderator was Jason Concepcion. He used to do the Binge Mode podcast, and he's just with another podcaster that they are now doing the official Game of Thrones House of the Dragon post-episode podcast. That people are like, oh, they put official in front. Someone's going to do it. Might as well be someone with podcasting experience on this, because remember when there was that glut of after shows, and it was just a person, and they'd be hanging out in the not club room. I hate it when they have those sets that look like, look, I know you don't live on this set. It is a set, it's not your house, but it's dressed up to look all casual. I hate that. So it's the fakeness of it. So rather than have yet another after show, hey, we have a podcast, and we can even do it remotely, because, COVID and Zoom and everything. So better these guys who I actually think have done good work in the past, and compared to, remember that time when they just hired up, when they hire up people around the office to do an after show. We've had bad experiences with that, not just on this show, but other shows. Better them than some of the other ones who I don't like. They have a good track record in the fandom, and I wish them well. Concepcion did a pretty good job of running the panel. Some people said he didn't. I thought he did. He had decent questions to move it along. I think the bigger problem is a Comic-Con issue, that it's an hour-long panel. How are you going to have 11 people on it? That you have to have the moderator strictly going, question for person number 1, now question for person number 2, and move down the line. You can't just put an open question. It's harder, because then they'll struggle with what to say. And again, it's not a flashy panel. I didn't want flashy. I wanted honest. Ryan Condell and George R. R. Martin were there. Their answers were very on point, quotable, and amazing, to the point I'm going to make clips of them. As for the cast, most of them haven't been to Comic-Con before, so they were a little nervous, so they didn't talk that much. I get that. Well, Steve DeSaint was nice. He had nice things to say. Eve Best didn't really know it. The other ones, generally, some of them were just, well, what am I supposed to say? I haven't done this. So they were trying to be nice. Emma Darcy was trying to give a good interview, but is a shy person. So Liv Cook, I thought, would yell more, because she curses a lot on the red carpet, but she was trying to be on her good behavior, I guess. So I don't want a panel full of zingers. I want something that's them honestly talking about their acting experience. Another thing we're going to make a clip about is, like, Emily Carey didn't talk that much, but there's a point where they asked, well, how did she prepare for the role? And she gave a really good answer. She said, well, there's not much written about Alicent, so I, wrote my own journals and that showed them to the writers that think up a backstory for Alicent. We have no idea what her relationship with her mother was like. The books don't even say whether she's alive or dead. They have confirmed she'll be dead in the show. We assumed that. They're just thinking out, well, what is Alicent like as a person? That was a good answer. It was 2 minutes long. It wasn't very quotable, but I appreciate the work they put into it. So the point of this panel was to just have a big panel introducing the new cast. Some of the new cast were nervous. They were generally pleasant. People, of course, kept asking Matt Smith questions about his other projects. Not this, but he was pretty good sport about it. I think the moderator did a pretty good job of asking things and trying to... He was honest, not trying to move things on without asking soft questions, but I love when the Q&A came out. I'm going to make a clip of this. He said right at the beginning of it, they unlike the last time, they allotted 15 minutes at the end for fan Q&A, and he said, guys, don't ask them a silly question like, when is this show set, if you don't know what this prequel is about. Don't waste your question. And for people who are hardcore book fans, please don't ask cast members a really specific question that they can't answer or are not in a position to answer without spoilers. Try to ask things that they can reasonably answer, like the prep process for this, which he gave a good introduction to. Guys, this isn't fake, but obviously you want questions they can handle. Someone asked a stupid question in the Q&A anyway, but was then followed by someone in a Rainey's costume who asked a good question. So nothing huge, but that was good there. The purpose of this panel was to have George R. R. Martin come in person in such a public venue, not even if you don't see the full hour of it, just the fact that news sites will be running 30-second clips of the point where he says, I have seen 9 out of 10 rough cuts. I approve of all of their work. This show has my blessing. But this is a ceremony that we needed Martin to come to public, and we were so worried about, he said he might not come, to publicly say, this show has my blessing and you should trust them. That was the purpose of this panel, and we needed that. And then it turns out last night Martin got COVID. That for a while they said he might not come because of COVID. Then at the last minute he was there anyway, and it was vital for him to be there to kick off this show, to show this has my full support. Miguel Sapochnik has COVID. He had to duck out of the panel too. Ryan Condal was there. Ryan Condal has also had COVID. He got it back in February. Now it was Sapochnik's turn. But Martin, he actually posted a video about this to his blog. He never posts videos. He said, somehow I managed to get COVID. It doesn't make sense because none of the people I'm in contact with have got it, so how did I get it? So he's quarantining in a 4-star hotel in Los Angeles where they had the premiere. He wasn't able to go to the premiere because of this, but that's an issue. I posted that to my community tab. I'm not going to make a separate video about it. I just posted his thing, but he knew how important it was to risk the COVID thing. That the purpose of this panel was Martin coming to be there in person to help kick it off. Consider that he didn't come to the Comic-Con panels for the entire second half of Game of Thrones, so they went off book. Since the last one he went to was season 4, that the symbolism of I'm here, everyone's really nice. So the panel, the moderator did a decent job, warned everyone, asked, he didn't say, oh, we're going to have softball questions. They weren't pre-screened because some of them were dumb questions, some of them were smart. But just saying, don't waste your questions, don't ask something too specific, but try to ask things we can deal with. Move the questions along at a decent pace. And it's an introduction. A lot of... Compared to we can't compare this to Game of Thrones Season 4 Comic-Con panel because people haven't met these actors before. I'm okay with it. I hope that as we start thinning the herd as characters die in later seasons, 11 people is a lot for a panel, and it needed to be the whole cast to introduce everyone. But we won't have the young versions of the actors then in Season 2. That'll narrow it down a bit. I don't know, but I'm going to make video clips. I'm recording this all in one burst audio only because I don't have time to edit it. I'm going to make highlight clips of things said during the panel. 1 or 2 highlight clips of 2 things from the trailer, the full trailer. Extended or otherwise. The extended trailer was basically a thing I wanted to point out. The prophecy scenes. I'm going to make a video clip of that, not recorded. And I want to get on to the THR stuff, Hollywood Reporter stuff, because that was the last big thing before I get back to... I have 3 weeks to get through the rest of my to-do list. But reading off here, just some quick notes on stuff I am not going to make a clip about because it wasn't long enough. Oh, I mentioned the younger versions. One piece of info that came out in this that I didn't know before, and they're probably going to repeat again, is they asked, did the younger versions of Rhaenyra and Alicent study the older versions to, get your mannerisms and stuff? And they said, no, we actually barely interacted with Emma and Olivia because logically, why would we know our adult selves? Now, I have heard through other rumors that there's a lot of work that went into matching the time jump. That older Rhaenyra will act like younger Rhaenyra, that Daemon, to show that time is passing, or that Corlys is 20 years older, through the time jump, that body language and stuff, that they did pay attention to such things. But it makes sense that, that Emma, Darcy, and Olivia Cook are the template. That they are the ones who have to figure that out, not the younger actors, because, Time's arrow, that logically I wouldn't know what my older self looks like, or moves like, acts like, physically. So I don't know, that'll be an ongoing question of how much did you match up, but they did keep remarking on the casting thing was phenomenal. I keep saying Emily Carey looks like younger me, that how the heck did they find Millie Alcock? She looks like that she could be younger Emma Darcy Rhaenyra. So that was pretty good. So, I've heard things, I've seen rumors and stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but logically we don't know our older selves. Cool. Another thing, the big question out of universe, why did people oppose Rhaenyra becoming queen? Why did they vote against Rhaenys? Is there the patriarchy? I honestly didn't think so, because when you read the book, it sounds more like political power blocks, and they use the fact that they're women as an excuse, that people didn't want Rhaenys on the throne because she's a Valyrian, that Rhaenyra because the anti-Valyrian people, because there's the Hightower camp and the Valyrian camp. I didn't think it had that much to do with gender, but I don't know what Martin's intent was. But they asked Martin, they asked, hey, why did they do that? And Eve Best turns to him and goes, well, why isn't Rhaenys queen and Rhaenyra? And he goes, well, the whole point is I based it on the anarchy in real life between Stephen and Matilda in England in the 1100s. So why did the lords in real life support Stephen when he tried to usurp Matilda? That's just the spark of he didn't make it up like that it will, okay. So in universe, is this because there's a patriarchy, or for power blocks, because people are just going to latch on to any excuse to the people who are not in power? If you have two factions, the faction not in power will jump on whatever excuse to try and diminish the other person. So I get what Martin is saying, that, well, guys, you have to stand back and go, out of universe, it's because why did the 100 Years' War happen with the Salic Law, and inheritance can't go through a woman to Henry V? That's political excuses, okay? It's more to do with all the other political things going on and the factions involved. That's the out of universe reason. Well, I was copying a real life historical event, the anarchy. In universe, we have to figure out why different characters have different reasons for supporting a woman or not. So I like that Martin addressed that and said, well, it's based on real life. I'm not going to make a separate video about that. Already talked about the younger versions. Another thing, Matt Smith and Millie Alcock said they have a lot of High Valyrian scenes together. Though Millie said, I can't say that I know it. I mean, I learned it phonetically. I learned the lines I have. You can't really... I don't think even... maybe Emilia Clarke and Jacob Anderson by season 6, 4 years deep into learning that much Valyrian, might have been able to fake their way through a sentence or two. But the amount they had to learn for their scenes... You get coached on this is what this specific word means, emphasize it. I don't expect Millie for, she's in 5 episodes. She said, I don't know it that well. But they have a lot of High Valyrian scenes that they talk, the Targaryens know High Valyrian and talk it amongst themselves. Paddy Considine, I realize it rhymes with Constantine. Constantine, he people thought it was great when he recited the one line. He said, I only have one line, but I learned it by rote, so here it is. So that was fun, too. Those are just the odds and ends I wanted to mention that didn't fit in. I'm going to make clips of some of the other things. Oh, another thing I didn't mention for the trailer, but will come up in Season 1, is, this was pointed out to me, Corlys Velaryon isn't on the Small Council when Queen Aemma dies, early in Viserys' reign. He resigned in protest when his wife was rejected as the heir. Maybe they're condensing that, and I wouldn't oppose that. And yeah, Preston Jacobs was yelling about this. Yeah, sometimes you need to invent scenes where characters are talking face-to-face instead of through letters and correspondence. So if it's a way to show Corlys is on there, but he's estranged, keep that in the back of your mind. How are they handling that the Velaryons become estranged from court? Maybe Corlys will leave the Small Council after Viserys remarries to Alicent, rejecting Laena. I don't have a problem with it. You need to work him into scenes because otherwise it would be through correspondence. Like, there's invented scenes you saw in the trailer of Rhaenys talking directly to Alicent, which I've heard more detailed descriptions of through leaks, and I agreed. This works better than doing it through correspondence in the format of television. Because it's what they felt, but it's to see them actually saying it instead of just through messages and everything. I'm fine with that. So this is the odds and ends catch-all audio-only video to where have I been for the past 2 days. I am catching up on a shit ton of information that came out. And the simplest answer is I do not have time to do a full trailer breakdown. I already gave the 7-point reaction audio only the night it came out on Wednesday. I am going to put out one video on the extended one because it put in the prophecy scene. I'm going to put out something, mostly clips for that, just to go, yup, that's the thing I predicted a while ago from other leaks. So other things you can expect in this series, I'm just making clips of it. 2 clips from Ryan Condal, 3 clips of Martin, and the clip where Emily Carey says how she prepared for the role. Emily Carey's nice, she actually interacts with the fans on Instagram, and this whole thing at Comic-Con, people responded, like when she said, I don't see Alicent as a villain, people started like harassing her online or something, and it's, I don't see Alicent as a villain. Like, I make fun, guys realize I'm joking when I'm in character and going, ugh, I hate the Greens, but then you've seen me saying, I love that Alicent isn't Cersei, she's like Marjorie Tyrell or Olenna, and Rhaenyra isn't good, she's like Stannis. Or, as a loose comparison, that these aren't good guys or bad guys, and Alicent really isn't a mustache-twirling villain. And even like Aemond One-Eye, I wouldn't say is a straight-up villain, because there's reasons he is the way he is. He's traumatized from losing his eye, and wants revenge, but he's not a psychopath. So, people yelling, oh, she's saying, I don't see them as a real villain. Like, yeah, that's entirely accurate. That's what we'd say. It's weird how, like, people accuse Rhaenyra of being the Cersei because, well, she has 3 allegedly bastard children. And then go, no, Alicent's the Cersei. Well, kind of a Cersei-Joffrey dynamic going on with her son, because she's the queen regent who's the real power behind the throne is a trope. But in many ways, she isn't Cersei, that she's actually a good diplomat, that she's not insane, that she can win allies, that she isn't bloodthirsty, that she was horrified when the Dance Over Storm's End happened. You idiot! We were trying to win diplomatically! So, that was terrible, because in terms of who talked about what, Emily actually had, insightful things to say about her character during the panel. So the panel itself wasn't a laugh a minute per second, because it wasn't pre-rehearsed. But, you'd have someone pause for 30 seconds, then give an honest answer, which was insightful. That meant a lot to me. So I'm going to post those, 6 clips of the panel, and then I'm going to post a single clip. It's just cutting together the earlier video I did with something they said at the panel of, yeah, that thing I said is happening, it's in the trailer. And another one of something that happened in the behind-the-scenes video. I have to go through the behind-the-scenes video that came out again, but I think we covered all of it. I don't think there was anything else I needed. There was one thing from it I really needed to make a video from, but oh, it was clips. They had different shots of Cyrax in it, but I'm going to edit that into the Ryan Condal video where he talks about dragon designs. It's one big video. The goal being that by this weekend, I'm making this Thursday, that I'm going to post all of this Thursday and then do, okay, this was the hardcore interview they did with Hollywood Reporter, get done by Sunday, and go, hooray, I've caught up. Now I have 3 weeks left to go through my list of thematic videos I wanted to get to. So you can find the full trailer on your own. Check out the one of the Season 8 panel and compare the two. It's upsetting. So, okay, I managed to record this whole thing without stumbling over myself. It was a week full of news, and I have to triage this. So that's why this is just an audio podcast, and I'm not editing things together. And I'm going to follow this with like 7 or 8 short, like 2 to 3 minute video clips, focusing on the important things they said.